Hi, folks. So a few days ago, I posted a ridiculous picture of Thelma leaping off of the top of a feeder, and I posted it on Reddit, and a bunch of people were like, "Hey, that seems like a nice feeder. Did you make it? What's the design?" And I had actually made it a while ago, and I got some clips from the build process, and I had meant to put together a video, and I never did. So I'm just going to toss a bunch of pictures and clips together and do a voiceover, and hopefully it will be a somewhat helpful guide if you want to build one of these yourself. So the basic design is that it's got like a lip at the bottom and a lid. And so the current version that I'm going to be talking about is this one with the vertical boards. It's actually version 2.0. I had previously made this one with horizontal boards, and this one, version 1, was a real pain because I cut all the boards at an angle, and then I like glued them, and I was like trying to cut it so like the grain of the wood goes around the corner, and like anyways, it just ended up being like such a long process because there was a lot of glue and then sanding, and the boards themselves were like bargain bin boards that like were warped. So anyways, that was a huge headache. So version 2.0 here was really designed with simplicity and like build efficiency in mind. And once I had the plans put together, I was actually able to make this in an afternoon. I've got a decent collection of power tools and whatnot, and obviously I had like a good idea of like how this goes together and had already built a pretty similar one, so I can't guarantee it's going to be as fast for everybody. But in terms of like woodworking projects, it's pretty straightforward. So the basic idea here, in case you're confused, this isn't actually a photograph. This is a diagram that I drew up. I know it's super realistic, but basically there's a base at the bottom, and then that's about the height of the litter box. And then there's a bottom piece that sticks out and provides a little bit of a lip. And that way hay that falls down gets caught and it doesn't just go straight into the litter box. It's like a little buffet area for the bunnies. And then obviously that top section is like where the body of the feeder is. So here's kind of the diagram of the base, and then there's the base with the litter box. Obviously, if you have a different size litter box, you're going to have to kind of adapt that. Those are 2x6s, and they worked out well for me. And then I'm just going to pop through these quick. I'm going to figure you're going to take screenshots if you want to save them. So there's the back, and then like up in the corner, you can see it says 3/4 inches. That's the gap between the like the edge of the backboard and then the cross piece there. And then I think like the top is the same, because basically if you have a 1x4 board, it's 3/4 inches by 3.5. So if you basically with all these different, I'm just going to go through. So here's the sides, and then you can see like on some parts, like the cross piece will go right up against it, and then on the other side, it'll leave 3/4 of an inch. And then here's the front, and then there we're leaving like 1.5 between the sides. So anyways, here's the cut list, and now hopefully this will start to make sense. So here's all the different sections. Okay, yeah, so over here is the base. That's pretty straightforward. And then the sides and the back and another side. And then when you put them together, that 3/4 inch there just leaves enough for the boards. Because down at the bottom, the 2x4s are going to be, 1.5 inches. So you have to that's why you have to leave 1.5 inches there. Yeah, and then there's the front, and then you can see how that fits onto the sides. So I can't guarantee there aren't some adjustments that I made between the diagram and the cut list and the actual build, but I felt pretty good about them. So it should be pretty close if you happen to be going for the same dimensions. I cut up all my boards at once, and it worked out pretty well, where there ended up being a few I had to cut again or some adjustments, but yeah, I just went ahead and cut them all right away and then built up those different sections, and then I'll show you the assembly here. So step one for assembly, I just put the back and one side together and then started putting in the dowels. And then I got the other side on, and I think I went ahead and secured it in the back, but then I kind of did a test fit by putting the front piece on. And then you want to have a slanted board above the kind of the little cubby area, because the dowels are set back. And so you want that board up top to divert the hay backwards. And so at that point, I put on the front, and then the base, I don't exactly know what's happening here. I think I shaved off about 3/4 of an inch off of one of the boards to get the lip to where I want. But good luck with that. I'm not sure exactly what I did there. For the lid, you can kind of see what I did here. I just drilled 2 holes and then kind of connected between them and cut them out. And then I got out my router and like rounded out those holes. There are plenty of options for like handles on lids, depending on what tools you have. So yeah, hopefully you can kind of tell what's going on from those clips. Okay, so the dowels, there's a few things to consider. First of all, I went with oak dowels because they're just like sturdier. The bunnies can chew on them, and they don't make any progress breaking through them, and they don't really flex. So I definitely recommend oak dowels over the poplar ones. Although I don't know, that the poplar ones might be fine if they're all you have. And then also I sanded them with a fine grit sandpaper just to make sure, because the spacing I went with, the bunnies are kind of stuffing their faces in there a little bit, and so I just wanted to make sure that they were smooth and there was 0 chance of splinters, which honestly it's probably fine if you don't sand them, but I definitely would recommend it just to make sure. And then the spacing is a decision that you're going to have to make. So my reasoning here was that you should either have the bars spaced close enough so that the bunnies definitely can't fit their heads through, or wide enough so they definitely can. You know, if you want your bunnies to be able to like stuff their heads way in there, like if you want one where you don't have to like sort of freshen it up and push it down and stuff, then you might want wider spaced bars. But I think there's like a danger zone where the bunnies can like barely fit their heads through. So I would be really careful about that. These, I'm pretty confident, are spaced at 1.5 inches center to center. And I'm happy with that. Like they could be a little bit wider, but the thing is I have 2 of these feeders. So I don't need to have like hay just like tumbling out between the bars on each one, because they have 2 feeders. I'm like freshening up and pushing it down. The hay like falls down on the base area. They always have easy access to hay. But I do like push the hay down and kind of freshen it up every day. So if you want a lower maintenance setup where it kind of just falls down easily, then you could go wider. I don't see a need to go narrower unless if you have like a guinea pig sharing this feeder with your bunny, then maybe you want to go narrower, but I don't see a need to go narrower. But if you want to go wider, like I said, just be really careful of that kind of danger zone where your bunny might be able to force their head in but like not get it out. That's a really scary prospect. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so one thing you're going to have to figure out on your own if you want to do this is how to do that back plate there. Because when you put the hay in, you want it to kind of gravity to feed it towards the bars. You don't really want a flat bottom, because then the hay is just going to, I don't know, maybe it would work out, but the hay would just like sit there. So this way, if you push down, it slides forwards. And I wasn't sure what the dimensions of that board would be, because it's going to be like at an angle, and then it was like notched out. So anyways, I didn't pre-plan that. And then I made the mistake of kind of putting everything together before dealing with that board. So I would like recut it a bunch of times because I had to still fit it inside of there. So I would definitely figure that out earlier on in the process and get it in there before you do the final assembly. That's pretty much it. Maybe I'll roll some clips of bunnies, but that's all I have for you in terms of designs and instructions. So yeah, I hope this is helpful, and best wishes to you and your bunnies. Bye.